A hot link is a very powerful tool wherein which we can bring real world entities into your map. For example, I want to show a building whose shape I would like to know, because I will not be in a position to see in GIS a building, isn't it? It is a map. A map will not show you any kind of buildings. It will only show an object as a land parcel. What I am going to do now is take a photograph of the building, attach this here. You can see how it is done. A hot link in GIS environment. So, this is what is a map indicative of, say, your roads here and land parcels. Each of the land parcels has got a set of details. These are the set of details. Let us not go into the details of that, just to give an idea. So, these are them. In fact, I was just telling you, there is no limit for the number of fields. You have n number of fields here, but you also have one thing called as the photograph. You can see here a hot link which is shown here, a simple lightning like indication. This hot link is indicative that this particular land parcel which I have selected is linked to a photograph. You see, by clicking I will get the photograph of the house. So, hot link will be very useful when you want to bring real world features into GIS environment. Not only that, in fact, some of the applications we are trying to bring the documents even. A PDF document can be brought in. So, for example, you are intending to bring all the scanned documents or documents pertaining to a specific house or a building, you can bring that into your system, wherein which you need not necessarily go back to your application and then work on. You can simply use GIS. In GIS environment itself, you can get the details. Of course, there are some restrictions. It is not that always it will be possible for you to scan all the documents. You can do depending upon your requirement. In fact, this last slide which I showed you give you an idea about the number of floors in a house, because isn't it? Because when I am working in GIS, I was just telling you, when I see from the top, a satellite data will be giving only the plinth or the topmost portion of the house. When I want to know number of floors, I have to go to the field. So, when I go to the field and take photograph, I need not depend upon my surveyor or whoever it is for that matter, and that detail can be obtained by a photograph. By linking the photograph to my GIS database, I will also be knowing how many floors are there. If I know the number of floors, I can calculate the area of the house from the top part of it. So, this is one simple application in GIS, hot link, linking objects. Various application areas are there. You can see so many are there. In fact, as far as the present the data is concerned, we talk about utility mapping, and this infrastructure utilities mapping is very important one. People were asking me many times, how do you use GIS in marketing? It is possible. Transportation, urban and cadastral mapping, one of the very good application in GIS. Of course, this requires high end satellite data and high quality data which is surveyed in the land. Epidemiology, demography, very useful in geographical studies. Emergency response, a response or emergency response is nothing but straight away if you want to find out. In fact, one simple application many people have developed, and it is there, we are also doing such works. We find that if a person is affected, or if he feels that uneasy, if he is uneasy, and if he has got some sort of a complication within himself, by just clicking on his phone, any icon or icon whatever we have given, this person will be in fact intimating his near ones and dear ones where he is, what is happening to him, because it is an emergency. Apart from that, he will also be knowing if somebody is there in the surrounding area, they will also be knowing how many hospitals or clinics are there in the nearest area from that particular person who is affected. So, a simple application, isn't it, but still a very valid one. Emergency application, emergency responses. Social sciences and humanities, health provision, as I was telling you about the vector borne studies. Of course, natural resources management is which was done for a long period in GIS, as long as they were getting in a small scale data. But now you are getting large scale data, and also it is used in utility and other mapping. Ecology, climatology, again it is again a small scale. Global change research, again it is again an application where in which you have say a small scale. Oceanography, famine warning, an important one. Famine warning, so people talk about famine warning, very important one as far as the general existence of mankind is concerned, in the sense, when is that famine which is going to strike us? Of course, It is not GIS which is going to give you data or detail. Remote sensing helps us in identifying the areas which are going to be famine struck. Based on various inputs and studies and modeling, we will be in a position to understand and get the details from the field, incorporate into a GIS environment along with the satellite data, and we will be in a position to demarcate the famine areas or areas which are likely to be affected. In fact, we also use the earthquake studies, volcanic eruptions, all these things. In fact, when you talk about building safety, you talk about a very important thing is your earthquake resistant buildings. So, earthquake resistant buildings, if you want to know, of course, designing earthquake resistant buildings is a part of the planner or a engineer, but when it comes to the areas or the zones which are likely to be affected, because zoning of earthquake resistance, zone A, zone B, zone C, zone D, highest effect and the least A to D come. So, we will be in a position to know what exactly or where exactly your particular house is going to be located, and from based on that you will be in a position to, or you can simply develop or build a house there. So, that is your important aspect. Because next you talk about the navigation, I will just come to the detail, then agriculture. Navigation. So, when I talk about navigation, an application which has got a huge implication nowadays about tracking personnel and vehicles. We talk about vehicle tracking system or personal tracking system. Vehicle tracking system plays an important role now because of the various things which are happening around us, especially when you are moving people who are sensitive in nature, especially movement of ladies in some places or in a specific location. So, we talk about vehicle tracking system which helps in identifying or locating the vehicle, where is it. Of course, a mobile phone will tell you where you are in your location, but a tracking system will tell you where you are to somebody else. So, someone else will be monitoring your vehicle when you are on the move. So, it is a very good important application, isn't it. So, when I talk about navigation, we use GPS, GPRS, a combination. The device will be fit into your system or your car or your bag or wherever it is, anywhere, somewhere. Even school children can be tracked for that matter. So, we use this navigation facility and then track the movement of various people or various personnel or various objects. In our context, it is a vehicle rather. Okay, navigation system is a very good application. Of course, I was telling you the last one, agriculture. Agriculture is nothing but again you talk about global application, in the sense areas which are agricultural or agriculture produce is being made. In fact, we have been using remote sensing effectively, very effectively remote sensing to identify various agriculture produce. But when we come to the area of your or the extent of area which is produced, GIS comes into play. From the satellite, we try to prepare the map, incorporate into your say GIS environment, wherein which you will be in a position to find out the aerial extent of each and every agriculture produce which is being done by, which is being produced by any country for that matter. Apart, of course, it will not be possible for us to find out who is the owner of that particular plot. That will not be possible because GIS or remote sensing will not tell. But when I can incorporate the details pertaining to that particular land from survey records, I will also be in a position to tell who is the owner of the land. So, do not you think it is such an important application? From remote sensing, I get the boundaries of the various agricultural lands. From survey, I get the inputs such as the owner and the extent of the land he is owning there, and finally, in using GIS, I will be able to integrate both of them and get the detail in a very good fashion, and it will be accurate rather as far as possible, because again please bear in mind, GIS will not be in a position to help you or get you accurate results. It all depends on your input data. As always I say, garbage in is garbage out. So, the better the input data, the better will be the output. First, when coming to the application areas, one good application, I was just telling you about the buffering part of it, we can use it effectively. We have just seen this here. In this context, I wish to or I try to work on the expanding or the widening of the road. So, an existing road, if you just see at the image, you can see that this is the existing road. This road has to be widened. For my particular application, could be anything for that matter, widening of the road. When I want to widen this particular road, I will have to use the buffering technique. I can say the total width existing is 15 meters, say about 50 feet. I want to make it 60 feet road, maybe 5 feet this side and 5 feet this side. For the particular center line, we can give instruction to the system to demarcate or draw a 30 feet buffer from here to here. This 30 feet buffer from the center line will definitely encounter or crisscross these land parcels rather. When you are doing such a thing from the laboratory without going to the field, I will be in a position to tell what are all the land parcels which are going to be affected and what is the total area or the total area of compensation which I have got to make to the individual owners. So, for this particular land, if this is going to be the line and this is going to be the area affected, for this particular landowner I will have to pay the area getting affected. So, this is a very good application in buffer where we try to use that technology. So, saving of time, saving of manpower and resources. So, going to the field, making measurements and trying to understand will take a long time, we will not be in a position to do that. Whereas, when you are using GIS, we will be knowing what are the various land parcels which are going to be affected, what is the total area of compensation which I have to make to the particular landowner and so on and so forth. This is one good example we have. Well, so coming back to the applications, we can see broadly what are the various applications and in detail we can see at a later stage. So, environmental planning. So, providing effective analysis and modeling tools for an environmental impact assessment, we call it as EIA. EIA studies are environmental impact assessment. Invariably, land use pattern changes over a period of time. We would like to know what exactly has taken place over a period of time, especially during 1990 and 2010. Within a span of 20 years, what kind of changes have taken place? That is one kind of a study. Another study is impact assessment, in the sense by developing, by bringing up, by working on, by bringing up a specific factory or any other thing in a given area, what is going to be the impact on land, air and water, environmental impact assessment. So, normally we study with the buffer technology, we use a 10 kilometer buffer, identify the existing land use and we predict and say that over a period of time this particular factory or a quarry is being allowed, what will happen to the entire area and the surrounding. So, that is what is a very good application for EIA, where GIS plays an important role. It is a very simple tool, we can use it effectively. Similarly, air, water quality modeling and monitoring. Of course, when you talk about air quality monitoring, especially in places in huge cities, we find that air quality has become a huge problem, and in fact pollution has become a routine thing and people are discussing and many steps are being taken. Air quality monitoring is being done in various places using GIS, in the sense we have the equipment placed at different places and air quality is normally seen at various heights, 5 feet, 10 feet, 50 feet and so on and so forth. So, depending upon the application, we can choose the area, given area, and then try to identify and work out on what is the effect of pollution in that area within a clone of say 5, 10 feet and 20 feet and so on and so forth. So, air quality monitoring and similarly water quality monitoring. Over a period of time, what has happened to the water quality? Given that the present day quality is known to me, I can predict in the future if any effluents are being let into that water, or I can try to analyze the data present day with the past data, for example 1990 or 2000 or 2010, and try to understand what is going to be the effect, what is the effect, overall effect in that particular area. So, air quality and water quality monitoring, GIS is a very important role. Groundwater movement modeling. So, groundwater movement of groundwater plays an important role in understanding where exactly groundwater is presently, because you know that people are finding very difficult to get water and they say that wars are going to take place for water, and the only resource now we have left out is that rain. If rain fail, groundwater also will fail. Of course, if you have technology and if you have methodology, in fact people are working on 3D GIS, if that is successful, I will be knowing and I will be identifying reservoirs beneath the surface which were not hitherto known to us. So, such reservoirs if identified will be of immense use to mankind. So, that is what is the groundwater movement modeling. Apart from that, I was talking to you about your effluents which is being let into water. So, it is not only surface water which will get affected, it is also the groundwater which will get affected. So, movement of groundwater and its affect because of the effluents, or it is quality changes over a period of time, that all such things can be modeled using GIS. Environmental hazard or risk identification, similar to your pollution. Coastal management, of course, a very important study. People are able to monitor the coast and also study the effects of your coastal erosion, especially using satellite data and GIS analysis. We will be in a position to predict what is going to happen to a given coast in a given area, whatever happens. You know that sea water is so powerful, and once you have something like tsunami or high tides, it will eat away into various aspects of your beach. The coastal erosion will take place. Such studies are possible. Similarly, waste disposal. Disposal of waste, major problem faced by majority of your municipalities and cities around the world is that, what am I going to do with my solid waste? Of course, liquid waste, you have the sewerage system, it just goes there and people are working on that. Solid waste management and disposal. Where am I going to dump my solid waste? So, this is a very good application for planning people. So, what kind of places I am going to identify? Am I going to look for places which is going to be non-porous in nature? If that is the case, then it will be good, it will be nice. I can identify a place which is non-porous and dump the material. But is the land sufficient for me? If it is going to be porous in nature, what is going to be the after effect of your dumping of waste in that particular place, and what is going to be the percolation of the pollutants into the groundwater and ultimately affecting the groundwater. Waste dumping, solid waste dumping and its impact, that can also be studied effectively. Still, you also talk about flood zone and the ecosystem. So, when I talk about flood zone in fact people are still finding it difficult, especially in places like Chennai, where it is flat in nature, flooding. Because if it is going to be undulating topography, flooding is such a simple phenomena, there is no problem, water will just simply move away. But once you have anything like a flat terrain where water is going to stagnate for a longer period because of inability to move and because of non-provision of drainages, this flood zone mapping and analysis is really very useful for planners, isn't it? So, we try to identify the zones which are prone for flood, and then we try to give solution using GIS. Of course, when you talk about natural resources management, there are various applications. You can also just go through this part. Of course, this again is forest inventory modeling, impact analysis of how economical your meteorological data and hydrological data will be in studies. Monitoring acid deposition, I was telling about your deposition of acid because of pollution, wildlife and wetland management. This is one simple natural resource management. Yes. Talk about mineral resources management or mineral resources mapping and management. What kind of study? I was telling right from the beginning, oil and mineral exploration, assessing pre-production conditions, monitoring the impact of extraction of resources, rehabilitation of mineral explored sites and site utility management. So, in gist, what exactly we would try to do that? In case of your mineral exploration, let me just give a simple example, a open cast mine. What will be the effect of removing the overburden in an open cast mine? Example, say a coal mine. If I have a coal mine, the coal is occurring at a depth of say 60 feet. That means I have a 60 feet of your overburden. I will have to remove that. Well, removing technology is there, not an issue, but when it comes to the deposition of that material, where am I going to put the material there? So, if I am going to deposit the material elsewhere, that means I am going to affect that land. That may be a cultivable land, that may be a wasteland. If it is a wasteland, not fit for any other use, well, my dumping the material there will be ideal. But when it comes to a cultivable land, that is a loss, isn't it? So, such studies, it will be useful. One simple example. Then talking about your oil exploration, GIS, we normally use resistivity survey, and we also use various techniques to identify groundwater and oil. When you talk about seismic survey and resistivity survey combined for oil exploration, we say that GIS is a very important tool, in sense knowing subsurface details from borehole logs will help us to go for modeling the subsurface and then identifying the oil rather. So, this sort of a study, we say that GIS plays an important role. The next important one, probably very much interesting to you students, land, local and municipal authorities, like land use inventory and planning, growth monitoring, cadastral and parcel mapping, census mapping and community development, planning and zoning, tax records management, engineering analysis like cross section, elevation measurements, etc. Local administration or people, when you talk about, I was just telling you about the mapping from satellite, tax collection, and then planning a new city, which is being done by you people. Architects are plays an important role in developing a new city around any area. So, in such cases, understanding the existing infrastructure, understanding the existing details of the land parcels and the land use will also, or rather is also an important thing. So, we normally talk about infrastructure mapping using satellite data, using GIS from existing data. The existing data is converted into a map, brought into a GIS environment, try to understand what exactly is there present in the given present time, what is that I am going to suggest for the future. Say master plan preparation of master plan, there is no tool other than GIS which is of immense use to you. Of course, design is an architectural aspect. When you come to the mapping part of it, trying to project the data on the sheet of paper and then understanding that GIS plays a very, very important role. Well, assisting the authorities, namely municipal authorities, we talk about tax data. So, assessing the taxation, to what extent people are paying the taxes. No controversies here. Just to know or validate the data or identify the data or find out the areal extent of that particular given house, and then multiplying the data, that area, into number of floors, we will be in a position to know what is the total area of that particular building. If I know the building area, I will try to compare with the existing data. If there is any difference, we will be in a position to report it to the authorities. Well, what is important here is that assessing the data and also identifying to what extent that particular land is being used. Is it purposefully used for anything like residential, commercial, or residential cum commercial, industrial, institutional, what kind of land use. So, GIS plays an important role in identifying the land, and surveying plays an important role in identifying the land use. Of course, built up area may be a land use, but when you go to the field, I will know whether it is going to be built up area of what purpose, institutional, industrial, etc. So, that sort of an application it goes. Similarly, planning for infrastructure facility which is being to be provided to the public, general public. For example, I was talking to you about water supply. Existing data, if I know, if I can bring it into GIS, and if I know the various terrain conditions, I can plan using GIS what I should do for the surrounding area, where all I am supposed to give, where all it is not provided, where all I can go for sewerage system, where all I can go for stormwater drainage. I was just telling you about the flooding. So, if you have a flooding in a given area, to what extent I will be in a position to give a remedy to that area. So, in such a case, GIS plays an important role to identify zones of flooding and also giving a remedy how to go for stormwater drainage development and design part of it. Emergency management, an important study where various aspects can be brought into GIS or use GIS emergency management. Volcanic eruption. In fact, when a volcano is taking place, volcanic eruption is rather taking place, it takes a few seconds for the magmatic material to reach the surface, to flow as lava onto the surface. So, in such a case, those 30-40 seconds are sufficient to intimate the people what exactly is going to take place over that particular area. So, even when you are on the move, I will be in a position to know within a fraction of a second that a volcano is likely to erupt. In such a case, once I know where the volcano is going to erupt, I will be in a position to know to what extent that particular volcano will be erupting and lava will be overflowing onto the surface. In such a case, definitely I will be knowing from the older study and the history or case studies, I will be knowing to what extent or which are the areas which are going to be affected by the lava flow. I will be in a position to tell the people who are on the move to either stop on movement, or people who are in the close by to evacuate and move away from there. It's a simple example. Another disaster management is your tsunami. The after effects, people talk about tsunami, of course it's very difficult to predict. Even if you predict, it will be very difficult to tell the public what exactly is going on, how difficult it is, or where they should hide. Well, coming to the after effects, after the occurrence of a tsunami, what you can do. So, identifying the places where you can put the people back, or rehabilitation rather. So, this sort of studies GIS plays an important role, identifying the various things like say a school or a institution or a government building, whatever it is, such a things can be already mapped and kept it ready. In such a disaster, it can be used effectively. So, this sort of another simple example. Similarly, emergency evacuation because of flooding and rehabilitating them in different place. Food availability of various health centers or clinics or pharmacies, all these things can be stored in GIS, and that will be a really handy tool when you really have an emergency. Well, I was talking to you about vehicle tracking system, and this is your transport planning where GIS comes into play. Fleet monitoring, corridor analysis, highway design and customization, routing optimization, analysis of accident prone areas, and analyzing road sections which are vulnerable to landslides and floods, etc. As I was just telling you, fleet monitoring, which I already described you about, vehicle tracking system. You will be located by someone else, or you will be tracked by someone else. That's vehicle tracking system. You can also have something like corridor analysis. What kind of corridor analysis? For watershed management? Yes, watershed management, corridor analysis. We say prioritization of watershed for various applications, namely soil conservation, flooding, development of structures which will be useful for recharging of groundwater through rain. All these things, such studies are possible. Similarly, corridor analysis in fleet management. When you feel that a particular resource is moving in a particular direction and it should not deviate from my specific direction or the road. So, in such a case, you can go for buffering of that particular road or the route, and that particular route can be monitored in the laboratory, and you will be in a position to see the vehicle movement. By the time the vehicle deviates from its prescribed route, immediately it will be known to us, or it will be intimated. So, GIS is a very plays an important role in such an application, where we can identify once it is beyond a specific, say for example, if it is going to be half a kilometer or 250 meters or quarter kilometer, if we say this distance, this particular vehicle should not deviate, instantaneously you can send an SMS to a higher authorities indicating that this particular vehicle has deviated. Apart, monitoring the vehicle for speed. You must have seen in various vehicles which are moving on the road, where this particular vehicle is monitored by speedometer. If any speed meters, please inform if for any violations, and invariably you will not find the telephone number would have been scratched. So, such cases, they need not tell, nobody has to tell that this particular vehicle has deviated or it is violated the speed. We can simply get it from the vehicle tracking system rather. So, it will be in a position to tell you after a particular speed, if you just fix the speed beyond that particular speed, naturally it will be in a position to tell you what speed that particular vehicle is moving and what is the violation. So, such application GIS plays an important role rather. Well, talking about highway design and customization, of course, here DGPS and your total station survey plays an important role. The data provided by these two survey has to be incorporated in a GIS environment, bringing them together and then designing the highway. So, that is where GIS is important here. Routing optimization and demand modeling, of course, as again I was just telling you about vehicle tracking, that is a simple application. So, something similar to this, all kinds of resources movement, and I was just telling you about your network analysis. wherein which resources, if it is moving, what kind of route one has to take in case of an emergency. I was telling you about volcanic eruption. If an volcanic eruption is taking place, if a person is moving towards the volcano, what has he do? What he has to do? He can deviate, he can go elsewhere, he can move into another direction. So, such application. Similarly, gas leakage. If you are going towards the gas leakage, you can instruct the public to move away from that. So, such application monitoring GIS plays a role. So, we talk about socio-economic development. So, what kind of changes or what kind of socio-economic changes has taken place over a period of time, analyzing demographic data and the population impact on the environment. Of course, as you know that it is only that population is increasing, it will never decrease. So, in that context, what is going to be the effect or impact of population on various infrastructure facilities which is being provided and also the socio-economic environment. People talk about socio-economic environment which will get affected because of explosion of population. It is not only that explosion of population, not only the reason, various other factors also are contributing to that. So, we try to understand using GIS to what extent if there is a population explosion in a given area which it cannot take anymore. For example, we talk about Chennai city, the original city. The actual city of Chennai cannot take anymore, only the expanded city can take more people. So, in such a case, how can I study? I want to understand what will be the impact of population growth in the expanded areas. If there is an expansion of or explosion of population, what extent I have to provide the infrastructure facility? Is the existing infrastructure facility sufficient, or are we supposed to increment or improve that existing facility? If it is going to be sewerage, I collect the sewerage, and where am I supposed to place my treatment plant? In case of water supply, I know what is the total water which is available, how much am I going to give for the existing or extra number of people, and so on and so forth. So, it will be just an application which will be extending. As I was just telling you about the public utilities, modeling communication and distribution network, I was just telling you about electric, power, telephone, gas, water and sewerage, all these things I have just told you. Asset inventory, management of your land parcels and other details, recreation park management. Of course, last but not the least is your trade and business application, where in which we try to use the trade and business application. Trade and business application, where in which we use, how do you use GIS in trade and business application? People work on the market research and a lot of inputs are available in terms of say data pertaining to where to locate your retailing or outlet and distribution. So, this is a very good application in GIS. We call it as relocation and allocation of resources. Relocate an existing resource from one place to another place, allocate a specific place for a particular application or say retailer shop. So, relocation, relocating, why do you relocate your application, your trade? Because you find that there are no takers. You spend a lot of money on that and then you develop that, and once you find that there are no takers, you have no other go but to relocate. How are you going to relocate your trade or business? So, in such a case, we use GIS to find out the movement of public. For example, if it is a apparel shop, then you cannot have it in a small street, it has to be on a main road. So, such a study we can use. Similarly, we can also find out what is the general movement of the various people in the surrounding area. If it is going to be this sort of a people and also the time of movement. So, in such a case, we can use GIS, incorporate the data which is from the field and then analyze and model and tell the ideal location for a specific shop, namely a retail shop or you say apparel shop. So, that is what we call it as relocation. Allocation, how do you allocate your shop or using the various resources available? As I was just telling you, various aspects pertaining to the movement of vehicles, a facility for parking of vehicles. If I do not have parking of vehicles, many people are turned away nowadays, no, they do not come into your shop. So, in such a case, what they tend to do is that identify locations where in which parking is available, identify roads where in which two-way movement of vehicles are available, possible. All these things are available in a database in GIS. Once I have such a database, I will use and identify or allocate a specific location for a specific trade or business. That is one good application. Similarly, identifying say tourism potential spot. Do not you think that is such an important thing? Because people say tourism brings in lot of foreign exchange into any country. So, what kind of tourism location or what is that you have? In fact, one big project people have undertaken is that in Sikkim. We just try to identify where this particular people are on the move. If a specific person wants to know, of course, he can use Google effectively, but still he cannot get all the details at a time. A site meant for tourism for Sikkim as Tourism Development Corporation has been developed, wherein which it will give all the details pertaining to the tourism in Sikkim, like various places of interest, the access, the approach to that place, the restaurants and the hotels which are available in that for that particular area, for all the places in one go. Above all, simple things like even place where we have taxis available, the bus stations, fire stations, police stations, whatever it is, that all utilities which are available in the area are all demarcated in the map, so that the people need not necessarily search various sites to get what exactly is their requirement. Above all, Tourism Development Corporation houses, where is it located, what is the cost part of it. So, such things can also be done. And very importantly, we call it as the mobile application, wherein which we will say LBS, location based services, which is a very apt trade and business application, wherein which if a given person is interested in the movement of or identifying or buying a specific product, if he is reaching a specific point from where he has to take a route such that he will be reaching the particular point. So, this LBS or location based services will give an idea where exactly what is present from in your smartphone. Like if you just tell I want to buy a jeans, I want to buy a shirt, I want to buy any other dress, I can just give the data and then ask the system to locate and tell me where exactly this is available. Well, it may show n number of places in a commercial area. I can also ask the system to let me know what are the products which are available, product and cost. Once I know the product and cost, I need not necessarily go to various shops, I can just directly go to a specific shop and finish my purchases. Do not you think that such an application is really useful for general public? Because now, as I was just telling you, parking of vehicles, movement, traffic, everything is an issue. Shopping is a must, you can't avoid shopping. Thank you.